I suppose that at one time or another, everybody loses something. Maybe it's a book, or maybe it's the key to your home. I don't know about you, but when I lose something like that, the first thing I do is to I suppose that at one time I do is to retrace my steps. At least in my mind, I go backwards in time, step by step, to remember where I put the thing that I lost. And then once I retrace my steps, I carefully reverse what I did wrong. I put the keys on the table where they're supposed to be, and the book goes back on the shelf. Retracing and reversing what I did is one of the best ways I know to find something that I've lost. Now, we've entitled this lesson, Paradise Lost and Found, and we'll focus our attention on Genesis chapter 2, verses 4 through 3:24, the story of Adam and Eve's sin in the Garden of Eden. We will see that Moses wrote about Adam and Eve losing paradise to encourage Israel to retrace and reverse the steps Adam and Eve took in that Garden of Eden. Only as Israel learned from this story could they hope to find paradise again. And we're going to see that the encouragement which Moses gave to Israel is also God's message for us today. By going back to the steps of Adam and Eve, Christians today can find paradise too. Our examination of Genesis chapters 2 and 3 will divide into three parts. First, we'll examine the literary structure of this passage. Second, we'll focus on the original meaning of these chapters to discern why Moses wrote them as he did for the children of Israel. And third, we'll draw attention to modern application by asking how the New Testament guides us toward the proper use of this passage in our lives. Let's begin with the literary structure of our passage. Although Genesis 2 through 3 is a rather long passage and touches on many topics, it actually forms a unified narrative. To understand this passage properly, we need to focus on these two chapters as one literary unit. Our examination of the literary structure in Genesis 2 and 3 will have two main concerns. First, we'll gain an overview of the major sections of the passage, and second, we'll comment on some of the significant symmetries among these various sections so that we may grasp the heart of what Moses was saying to Israel. Let's begin with an overview of the literary structure of Genesis 2 and 3. Apart from the brief title that appears in the first half of chapter 2, verse 4, these two chapters divide into four major sections. And these four major sections are indicated primarily by changes in topic and characters. We should walk through these four steps and summarize their basic content. The first dramatic step of our story appears in chapter 2, verses 4 through 17, where we read that God put Adam in the Garden of Eden. These verses begin with a panoramic view of the Garden of Eden, and as the passage tells us, the whole garden was Adam's splendid place to dwell and to work. Then the concerns of this section narrow down to the creation of Adam and his commission to work within the garden. Adam was given a great privilege by God's grace. He was to keep the garden on God's behalf. The second step of our narrative consists of chapter 2, verses 18 through 25, which we will designate Humanity's Condition Enhanced. In this material, God added even greater blessings to Adam's life. This section begins by introducing a new problem, which is noted in chapter 2, verse 18. There, God looked at Adam and said these words, "It is not good for the man to be alone. I will make a helper suitable for him." The rest of chapter 2, verses 18 through 25 reports how God dealt with this problem. Adam searched for a partner among the animals, but in the end, God formed a woman and brought her to Adam. In this way, God greatly enhanced the wonderful creation that he had made already for Adam and Eve. The third step of our narrative is chapter 3, verses 1 through 21, which we will call Humanity's Condition Cursed. This material begins in chapter 3, verse 1, with the introduction of a new topic and character, the tempting serpent. From this point forward, chapter 3, verses 1 through 21 deals with the serpent's temptation and the results of his temptation. Eve falls prey to the serpent's temptation so that she and Adam eat from the forbidden fruit and fall under divine curses. The fourth element in the overarching or another, everybody loses something. Maybe it's a book, or maybe it's the key to your home. I don't know about you, but when I lose something like that, the first thing I do is to read